Well, hello everyone. I'm Маші Єфросиніної. I'm the Ukrainian journalist, and I'm now standing in Vільнюсі, Lithuania, actually in the YouTube studio, which is streaming from the Public Forum of NATO. And I'm very, very happy and honored to welcome here in the studio the Prime Minister of Latvia, Mr. Кріш'яніс Каріньш. Am I right?
Perfect.
Perfect, it's very good. And let me start with thank you from all the Ukrainian people to you in your help and support to Ukrainians. And you know that the whole people of our country is keeping eyes now on what's going on here in Vilnius. And could you please, I know that we have only a couple of minutes, could you please tell me all your personal expectations from this forum for Ukraine?
Within NATO, it's no secret there are various approaches in thinking about Ukraine and NATO. Good news is in terms of support for Ukraine with weapons, ammunitions, money, humanitarian aid, etc. There is complete universality. Everyone is fully committed and will continue to support Ukraine as long as it takes. There's no question about that. This is actually very, very good news. That is, the longer the war goes on, the more committed everyone is to helping Ukraine. So it does not become weaker, it actually becomes stronger. So the will among NATO members is very clear. Then is the question of when and how does Ukraine become a member of NATO? Mm-hmm. And there are countries such as mine that thinks it's very simple and obvious. Ukraine must become part of NATO in order for there to be peace, not only in Ukraine but in Europe, because fighting a war costs lives, it costs damage, it costs money, and supporting a peace is completely different. And NATO is the only credible guarantor of peace in Europe, and Russia knows this. So the only question is what kind of decision we will have, what the actual wording will be. The sentiment is actually quite universal. Of course, it was said many years ago that Ukraine must be or should be in NATO. But now it's coming down to, okay, now how do we actually move in that direction? We've been saying it for many years, but how do we actually move in that direction? So there will be still some discussions about that, but to me, it's almost, I could say, it's not almost, it is actually black and white.
I heard your position on the panel. It's one of the most exact and very straight. And actually what is Latvia showing us is that since the beginning of war, your country has spent 1.3% of ITS GDP to help Ukraine. How can we persuade, for example, all the European countries to make such a great support to us? You did it, you managed.
We're still doing it. And what the interesting thing is in our country, when the government, and almost every week in government, we're making new decisions on what kind of aid is going to Ukraine. It comes from the military, it comes from the health ministry, it comes from the interior ministry. After the exploding of the dam, then there were generators, and our services are in contact with your services. What do you need? What do we have? What can we get? But civil society in Latvia is doing the same. And as the government is making decisions, I'm looking, we have all the time convoys of lorries going to Ukraine with everything under the sun. The civilians are not sending weapons. Yeah. That's what the government is doing. But the civilians are doing everything else. So our society is fully mobilized in this support, because in Latvia, we understand that Ukraine is fighting our war. It could have been us, but if it would have been us, the outcome would be very different. You're a large country. All the three Baltic countries were small geographically. We don't have as many people. And we understand this wholly. So our support for you is it's coming from the inside. It's completely sincere. And when I speak, and also here at the summit with my friends and colleagues, the heads of other governments around the NATO community, I am and have been all the time conveying the message, Russia is the threat. The Ukrainians are right now taking the brunt of all of Russia's aggression. No one else is having to fight right now. And that it is our responsibility not only to help you now win the war, but to ensure your stability and peace afterwards. And I'm saying that even if, I don't know any such government, but theoretically only thinking about yourself, well, then that kind of government would want Ukraine in NATO as well, because that will mean peace. And peace means growth and stability.
For sure, yeah.
And so I don't accept the argument that you have to be wealthy to aid Ukraine. My country is not the wealthiest in Europe, but everyone is helping in their own way. People are taking Ukrainian refugees into their houses.
I know.
And the Ukrainian refugees, they're now entering our workforce and actually helping our economy grow.
Of course, we can lose much more if this monster wins.
Yes.
I have a last question, because we have a YouTube audience. I know that for the last couple of days you're combining two positions, like Prime Minister and the Minister of Defense.
Yes.
Do you sleep? How do you feel yourself? And how long will it take in your life?
It's just for a few weeks. Our foreign minister became our president, so the post is vacant. I need to propose a candidate for Parliament to vote. I'm looking at maybe making a few other changes in government. I don't want to have 2 or 3 votes. I want to have 1 vote. So for the next few weeks, I'll be the foreign minister. But I'm still getting some sleep. And I'm fortunate as the foreign minister. We have an excellent ministry and excellent ambassadors all over the world. So things are moving along. I could say as the head of the government, that's part of the machine which is actually oiled quite well.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister. Thank you for finding time for us. Thank you. See you later.